Warriors, LA 21 12681. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Terrell May of Trusty Properties. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. This is an especially loaded show here on this Tuesday. LSU got off the practice field about an hour and 15 minutes ago. I will give you what I saw out there. There are some trends that are starting to materialize. We'll get to it. Kat Terrell covers the Saints for ESPN. She's with us in 15 minutes. Devin Neal is injured. He's going to miss a little bit of time. What does that mean for the Saints running back rotation? We'll talk about it with Kat. Glenn West always with us on Tuesday. See the senior writer of Go 24/7. He's here at 1:30. We'll have Sharief Aishack at 2:30 talking Saints as well. We didn't get into Bruce Feldman's Freaks list yesterday. We got to get into some of that where it concerns with LSU as well as Clemson. And we'll meet the freshmen. We'll do Aiden Anding and Jacob Bradford as far as meeting those two guys at the end of hour number one. So let's rock and roll the way we do every day. It's our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
All right, it's the 5th of August. LSU was in full pads today for the first time. And also went for about 2 hours, which is the first time they had done that. So this was easily the most intense practice in terms of physicality as well as in terms of length that LSU has gone through in camp. And I think it all built towards the end, which is what I'm going to talk about most. We saw a lot of individual today, but it all built towards the 11-on-11 that they worked on at the end. It was kind of a scrimmage setting. They did work down in distances. And it was the highlight of the day in terms of the information that we can relay to you. And before I get into play-by-play and before I get into any sort of statistics, I want to just set the tone here. This is the part of camp where I kind of bemoaned LSU from a secondary perspective the last 2 years. And I'm not quite there yet with the offensive line, but I will tell you this. The defensive line is getting the better of them consistently. We have talked about Bernard Gooden a lot. He made 2 more tackles for loss today in limited time. I don't even think Bernard Gooden, in the plays that we have seen in 11-on-11, I don't think he's been out there even close to 75 snaps, which is what a real game would be. I've absolutely seen 8 tackles for loss from him. Absolutely. And there were 2 more today. Caden Durham took a handoff, dropped in the backfield. Harlan Berry took a handoff, dropped in the backfield. This is every single day with Bernard Gooden, and I want to give him his flowers. He was billed as a disruptive, quick, up-the-field defensive tackle. He is playing that role to perfection. But at this point, when it happens this consistently, you do have to look at the offensive line and go, hey, somebody block this guy. And they're not. They are not blocking him. And today, they didn't block Jack Pyburn either. Pyburn had a significant tackle for loss on Caden Durham that I think went for a loss of like 4 yards. I mean, Durham took a handoff in the backfield, and Pyburn was there immediately and flattened him. And then earlier in the scrimmage, Pyburn was working off the offensive left side, his defensive right side, and he went up the field on Tyree Adams, hit him with an inside spin move, and actually took Garrett Nussmeier to the ground. Nussmeier was completely fine, popped up immediately, was not in any way negatively affected, but just watching it in real time, I went, oh, because it looked like he kind of rolled up on Nussmeier. That did not happen. Garrett was completely fine and played the rest of practice, but it didn't look awesome just in practice. It was a sack. And this kind of thing continues to happen every single day. And you look at the running plays that LSU ran in these 11-on-11 snaps in the final period of practice, and you see a lot of stop at the line of scrimmage, 1 yard, TFL, 3 yards, TFL. And that's a concern. I don't know another way to put it. It is a concern at this point. Now, I don't think if you would have told me on August the 5th, they've been in pads for a week, that the defensive line with Jack Pyburn, Gabe Relaford, Patrick Payton, Jamari Butler, with Don McKinley and Ahmad Bro and Jacobian Guillory and Bernard Gooden, that group is going to give a brand new offensive line some issues early in camp. Yeah, that I absolutely would buy that. So I'm not here to panic. I'm not here to absolutely label this offensive line as a bust, to say that LSU's in significant trouble. I'm just here to tell you that this is not like, it's just the defensive line seems to be doing a little bit. No, they're kicking their butt. The defensive line is kicking their butt at this point in camp. Garrett Nussmeier rarely has a lot of time back there, which he did a lot last year in games, and they're not running the ball very well. So it is a concern. It's not something that I'm going to go nuts about on August the 5th. I think LSU's defensive front is good. I just rattled off all those defensive linemen. We know Whit Weeks can play. We know Harold Perkins is healthy. I believe West Weeks is having a nice start to camp. He had a great pass breakup against Trey'Dez Green today. We saw Devon Keys play as a freshman. And now Tylen Singleton is starting to make some plays. He had a sack in the 11-on-11 today. But it was a significant win for the defensive front, no question about it. When I go through the chart, I'll just go through this. I don't want to belabor the point or go too deep into the weeds, but you're listening, you'll catch this pretty quickly. Nussmeier had a tuck in and run on the first snap, would have gotten 2 or 3 yards. Durham ran for 3. Gooden, TFL. Nussmeier, sack. Gooden, TFL. Jordan Gilbert, pass breakup. Jack Pyburn, sack. That's the first team versus the first team. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snaps, and the defense basically won all of them. That's a big deal. 7 snaps. 7-0. Then you go to the first team getting back out there. Pyburn, 5-yard loss, TFL. Nussmeier forced to check it down to Durham for 1 yard. Then the next 2 plays, the last 2 plays the first team ran, after getting beat 9 plays in a row, Nussmeier hit Parker over the middle for 15, 18 yards for a first down. And then on the next play, which has happened every day in fall camp so far, LSU ran a little counter to Caden Durham on the offensive right side. He broke a tackle from Jordan Gilbert on the second level, 45-yard touchdown. And he's done that every day. And I feel like it was nice to see the offense throw that counterpunch finally. And what it tells me, and it reinforces to me, is that this LSU offense is really explosive. And we know this to be true. You watched Caden Durham last year. He ripped off a couple long runs against South Carolina. The first 2 plays of the game against South Alabama, he accounted for 170 yards. He busted a big one against Alabama. Busted a big one against Baylor. He is explosive. And when he gets a crease, which he got on the final running snap, he was gone. One guy to beat, he beat him. And then Nussmeier, when given a little bit of time, was able to hit Kyle Parker. And what you see from Garrett Nussmeier and these wide receivers in 7-on-7 is just pitch and catch. I told you this the first day when Garrett Nussmeier didn't throw an incompletion. I told you this the second day when he was 8 for his first 8 and then threw 1 incompletion. And every day we watch 7-on-7, which is catered to the offense, obviously, Nussmeier is just dotting it up. It's awesome. And then they get into 11-on-11, and it gets clunky. And that is a reflection of the offensive line getting beat more often than you want. Now, here's the deal. The defensive line, while there is certainly an element of playing together on the defensive line, it's really go beat your man. On the offensive line, there's a lot more cohesion that has to happen. And this is a new group. Braylon Moore is a new center. Weston Davis is a new right tackle. Tyree Adams is a new left tackle. DJ Chester is playing left guard for the first time. And then you go to the right side, and you've got Josh Thompson. You saw Cohen Eccles in there a little bit today with the first team. And so they have work to do from a unity standpoint, from a cohesion standpoint, from a working together standpoint. And that takes some time. Matt will tell you on his show, he has charted the one-on-ones on the offensive defensive lineman while I've watched 7-on-7, so I haven't seen this part. I'm just relying on his reporting and what he says on the show and what we talk about after practice and what goes into the practice reports. In one-on-ones, the offensive linemen are winning. Like when they just play, they go to one-on-one, they're showing good feet, they're showing good hands, they're showing strength. They are doing their job in the one-on-ones. They get into 5-on-5 basically at the box, 5-on-6 at times, and it tilts the way of the defense. And there's encouraging things on the one-on-one perspective. There are encouraging things when you look at the size of LSU's offensive line, when you look at the star ratings in high school on the offensive line. Like there are some things that lend themselves to LSU fielding a really good offensive line. They're not playing very well right now, and I don't think it's too early to say that. Again, being very clear, I'm not suggesting this group can't get any better, that LSU is doomed, that LSU... your fears are being realized and they can't block. I'm telling you right now, a week into camp, they're not playing very well. And I'm confident from being at practice, if I went into Brad Davis's office right now where he's probably going through game tape, he would be far more critical of his unit than I'm being right now. Because you can hear him on the practice field just ripping guys. He sees it. He knows they can be better than that. And I think the sense is, and this is me, this is not based in fact. This is me projecting down the line and me hypothesizing based on the things that I see in what I'm watching in camp. I think there is a realization from a lot of people. Myself, I certainly would stand by this. This team is essentially going to go as the offensive line goes. Because if they block, LSU is going to be awesome. If they can't, LSU's not going to be able to move the ball. Because if you can't run the ball and they're pressuring Nussmeier and he can't do the things he needs to do from the pocket, he can't get out of the pocket and hurt you, you're going to be wasting your wide receivers and you're going to be in a world of hurt. Like, it seems oversimplified when I do that, but I'm not sure it is. And right now, it's reasonable to suggest the offensive line is getting whipped more often than it is succeeding. And that's got to change over the next 4 weeks. Still time. There's still a lot of time. They've got to get some things together up front. On the flip side, LSU's front four and front seven looks very, very, very good on defense. That's your Genesis opening drive here on this Tuesday. We're brought to you by Terrell May, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. He's with Trusty Properties. Look, if you're looking for that new home, 5 to 20 acres in St. Francisville or in Ethel, in the Felicianas, and you don't really know where to go, well, you go to Terrell May of Trusty Properties. Maybe you want some property in Woodville or Centerville, Mississippi. This is all in Daryl's backyard. He's a St. Francisville resident. If you're looking for land for your next home, call my guy Terrell May at Trusty Properties. Here's his cell phone number. This is who you call. You call his cell. Hey, Terrell, I'm looking for land. Hunt told me about you. What can you do? He's happy to help. It's 225-268-6915. Again, 225-268-6915. That's Terrell May with Trusty Properties, a name you can trust. We'll come back, chat with Cat Terrell on the Saints. Devin Neal down for a couple of weeks. How big a deal is that for the running backs? It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You know, when you buy a new vehicle, which you can do at Genesis, you generally have to be shown the features of the vehicle, right? And so you go to the lot and you get in and you have one of your sales ambassadors come in and show you all those bells and whistles. And that's sometimes not all that pleasant because it's like 100 outside and the dealership's on a blacktop. It can get a little unpleasant. Well, how about this? You go ahead and get your vehicle from Genesis of Baton Rouge, and when they do that for you, they're going to pull the car into the showroom into a climate-controlled area that's air-conditioned, so you don't have to sit there and sweat while they go through the awesome features of your new Genesis. It's just one of the perks. They go the extra mile at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see the facility. It feels more like a spa, like a 5-star hotel, than car dealership. They're an airline in Pico. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. The entire fleet is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Off and running here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Chat with Glenn West coming up in 15 minutes. Glenn was out there sweating on the Ponderosa today, talking some LSU. But let's shift gears and go to the New Orleans Saints. Kat Terrell, Saints reporter for ESPN.com, good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Kat, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're quite well now that we're inside in the air conditioning. I know you can probably relate to that. This morning's getting a little bit long.
Yeah.
But the Saints,
a little bit.
The Saints are headed out to Southern California, where that won't be quite as big an issue here coming up this weekend. But the news of the day for me is that Devin Neal is going to miss a little bit of time. What can you tell us about that, and how big a deal is that first for him?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think that he had a really good opportunity there, and Kellen Moore admitting he's going to miss several weeks is tough. You know, this is a really critical time for everybody. They're about to play in their first preseason game, and he no doubt would have played a lot because Kellen Moore said Alvin Kamara is not playing in that game. So it's definitely a bummer, but, you know, I think that he's already shown a lot early in camp. And so, you know, he'll be back and, you know, he's not going to lose his spot, but, you know, it was a good opportunity for him.
What have you seen from Devin Neal? Obviously, we know he's the leading rusher in Kansas history, but what's he done in his first training camp?
You know, I thought he looked good for a rookie. I think that that competition is kind of wide open. That's what I was saying. It was a good opportunity. Behind Alvin Kamara, you got a lot of guys that are fighting for that spot, and there hasn't been any real standouts, although I do think, it's been good for Kendre Miller, who was injured last year, to get those reps. But I definitely think it's been a good start for him.
Kendre Miller have a better chance to be the second-team running back or miss the team altogether?
My sense is he'll be the second-team running back, which is, definitely a 180 from last year when he was immediately hurt right out of the gate at training camp and got on Dennis Allen's bad side, which kind of lingered throughout the season.
I feel like me, just from afar, covering things and kind of paying attention, I was soured on Kendre Miller for the fact that he wasn't around, and I think maybe Dennis Allen soured me on him, and maybe it wasn't all Kendre's fault, that it was just being in the coach's doghouse. What's your sense of that entire situation and whether or not this is kind of a fresh start for Kendre Miller?
I think that's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think that Allen was frustrated that I believe Kendre injured his hamstring like day one, and maybe he felt he wasn't doing enough to, properly be ready for practice, and thus leading to an injury. I don't know. I just know that he just got on his bad side, and from then on, it kind of seemed like they didn't believe in him. And that was one of the things Kellen Moore talked about at the beginning of camp. He said it was a blank slate for everyone, and I think that's really good for Kendre, just in terms of his confidence. Look, maybe he's the guy the next after Kamara, maybe he's not, but I do think he deserved to get that chance this year with a new coaching staff, a new start, and to be able to kind of get that off his back and see what he's got. And so I'm excited to see that this year.
What about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Obviously a guy that's very familiar to those in this market, being that he played high school and college football here. What's his training camp been like?
Yeah, I think that's a tough one because, as I was saying, there are a couple of guys competing for that spot. So when Kellen Moore was asked how many running backs would make the roster, he's not going to say exactly, right, but he did say 3 to 4. So obviously you're looking at Kamara. I would assume Miller. You're probably thinking Neal. So who gets that last spot? Does it go to someone does it go to Clyde? Does it go to Cam Akers? I'm really not sure. So it'll kind of be interesting to see how they divide up those reps against the Chargers to try to come to determine what they're thinking. So I think that could be a toss-up. As a LSU person myself, hope he makes the roster, but definitely not. I don't think that's a given at this point.
Do we have any sense on how Kellen Moore is going to handle the preseason? He's never done it anywhere. Now he's the first-time head coach. So what do you think the focus and emphasis will be with this game against the Chargers?
Well, everyone's going to be watching the quarterbacks, right? I think that's the biggest question. How do they handle the quarterbacks? And just, how these practices go, as reporters are always just standing on the sideline kind of chatting whenever there's downtime. And one of the main things we were chatting about is how do you divide up these snaps? Do you give Rattler one series with the first-team offensive line and then Shuck a series with the first-team offensive line and go from there? Or do you just say, hey, Rattler gets 2 quarters, Shuck gets a quarter, Hayner gets a quarter? I don't know. You're trying to build team chemistry too, but I do think the most important thing that's going to come out of this game is the quarterbacks and how he handles that, and if any quarterback is stepping up. Other than that, you really just want to see how these guys are going to handle competition that's not themselves, because right now we're talking about, these great plays some of the defensive players have made and things like that. But does that mean those defensive players are good or the quarterbacks are bad? You don't actually know until you see them against other competitions. So I'm excited for it, and I know the players are probably thrilled to get to hit someone else in 6 days?
Yeah, do you feel like we'll
5
know?
days?
I think it's getting 5 days. I think. Do you feel like we'll know who they're favoring as the starting quarterback after this first preseason game?
They're trying really hard not to tip their hand either way. Kellen Moore, anytime you ask them about the quarterbacks, he'll just say, they're doing a great job. So I don't think on Monday they're going to say this is the starter. He did say at the beginning of training camp the Chargers game would kind of be the turning point. I think after that they start kind of looking ahead to the regular season. But just from my perspective, I don't think we've seen enough to determine either way which of these guys is going to start. I do think how a player handles a game situation goes a long way. If a player is okay in practice, but then suddenly he gets in a game and the lights come on and they look, great, I think that's important. And sometimes that does happen. And so maybe one of these quarterbacks will step up and we'll see that. But so far, I think no one's kind of taken that job and run with it yet.
Who do you think is going to be the starter in week 1?
That's a tough question. I think if I'm just basing it on what I've seen right now, I think it'll be Rattler. I think if Shuck continues to improve, I think Sunday was his best practice so far. If he continues to rise and plays well in the preseason game and it's close, then they might go with the rookie. But so far, to me, I think Rattler has been more consistent than Shuck, which makes sense. He's older. He's got time in an NFL system. So it makes sense that he would kind of, have a head start. But I just think that overall, we haven't seen enough consistency from any of these quarterbacks. And so that'll be a big thing going forward that we'll need to see.
You've got a feature up on ESPN.com talking about Tyler Shough and his entire career being a series of challenges and injuries and life changes. What have you learned about the Saints' earliest quarterback draft pick in the last 50 years that make him qualified to go through the challenges to battle for a starting quarterback spot?
Yeah, I think that he's very sure of who he is. And honestly, you could say that about 3 of these quarterbacks. They're all very confident in very different ways. And it has kind of been funny to learn about them. I think that Shuck has gone through a lot. He will tell you he feels like it's made him uniquely qualified to have this job because, when you're in college, everyone's kind of the same age. Everyone's still figuring their life out with a few outliers. You get to the NFL, it's a job. These guys are married, they have kids. It's not like it was in college, and you have to figure out how you are going to relate to these guys on a whole different level. And I think that Chuck has already done a really good job of trying to do that. He kind of gets it, like just getting there early in the summer and immediately working out with people and trying to go out with these guys and get to know them, get to know their wives, things like that. Look, I'm not saying Rattler hasn't done that either. He has. Rattler also, just like Shuck, organized throwing sessions this summer. But I do think that he is definitely a different kind of rookie. He's about to be 26, been married a year. So in that sense, I think that helps him. But again, it's like a Rosen story. It's no given. The job will not be handed to him, and so he's got to make these last few weeks of training camp count.
You want to read more about Tyler Shough, head over to ESPN.com. Read Kat's piece. It's up there right now. Catherine, we appreciate some time. We'll catch up down the road in training camp. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to California tomorrow.
I bet you are. Y'all travel safe. That's Catherine Terrell from ESPN, is a Saints reporter, former Daily Reveille writer with me on that staff back in the early 2010s. So go back with Cat a long way. She does an awesome job covering the black and gold for ESPN. All right, when we come back, Glenn West was out of practice today. We'll see if he had similar thoughts that I did. I led the show with him. We'll see what Glenn's are when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. There are 2 tropical disturbances out there. I don't think either one of them are threats to the Gulf Coast at this point. Don't expect either to be, but we know during this time of year, storms are essentially inevitable around here. And if your insurance program is not set up to respond to those, it's not any good. It's pretty simple. So if you need a second set of eyeballs to make sure your property policy is going to respond properly to a storm, we'll call the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team are fantastic to work with. They're experts technically, and they're an independent broker, meaning they've got contracts with dozens of carriers. So depending on what type of property you own, what kind of business you operate, they know what carriers best represent those companies, those types of businesses. And they'll be able to place you in a proper spot to make sure your property policy responds the way it should. That's the most important thing with insurance. You know you're going to pay more than you want to for insurance. I was in the business 7 years. That's the way everybody feels. But when you pay a lot and then a storm happens and you're not covered properly, that's the worst case scenario. Make sure for that good money that you pay that your property policy is correct. The Highland Insurance Group will help you out with that. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. So wherever you are on the Gulf Coast in Louisiana, they've got markets for you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Check them out online, highlandig.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, got a report on the New Orleans Saints. Let's shift gears back to LSU. Glenn West, senior writer at Go 24/7, with us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, you find some air conditioning?
Found some air conditioning, and also cooled off. If you could see the setup that I have here with my phone, we switched things up for people who don't know. But if you could see the setup here, we're balancing some really good stuff here with the phone to make sure that it's in line with my 6'11" size.
Love to hear that. Very much appreciate it. All right. I'll just go open-ended, and we'll just take the conversation wherever it leads. Your takeaways from today's practice?
The defensive line is completely winning the first week or so of camp that we've seen. That's got to be number one takeaway. I would imagine for everyone who's been out there covering these practices, those guys just really flying to the ball, whether it's Jack Piber and Patrick Payton. In the middle, you've got Bernard Gooden and Dominic McKinley making some really good plays. Harold Perkins coming off the edge as well at that star spot. I think he's made some really nice plays and consistently around the ball as well. Excuse me, my voices seem to be leaving me here.
All good.
And then, kind of in the middle of the field there with the linebackers, you got Witt and West Weeks. Those guys have been pretty consistently with the first team. Tylen Singleton, I really like what I've seen from him. So, look, the defensive line, I think is the winners so far, and it's just about. We only get to see them go up against LSU's offensive line, so it's really just a question of how elite this defensive line is, or how much work maybe this offensive line still has to do over the next 4 weeks.
You care to try to answer that question here?
I think it's probably more so the offensive line just needs to be more connected as one. I mean, they've rolled out. The one thing I will say about this offensive line is they've rolled out a pretty consistent five over the first 5 or 6 days of practice. You've got Tyree Adams at left tackle. You've got DJ Chester at left guard, Braylon Moore at center, Josh Thompson at right guard, and Weston Davis at right tackle. So I do think maybe finding that five so early in camp can be a benefit for that group. And they've won individual reps. Like I've been over there watching the the O-line, D-line one-on-one drills a couple times here over the first week or so. And those guys have talent. It's not like they're devoid of talent. They definitely can win their reps when it's one-on-one. I think just when you see them kind of go over to the 11-on-11 stuff where it's their five against the defensive line's five. It's the defensive line that's had a really, really good, kind of jump on those guys. So we'll see. I think I lean more towards the offensive line needing to have a little bit more consistency with their five and just more time to work together. And you do have 4 weeks here before the Clemson game to get that right.
And so kind of to piggyback on that, and this goes beyond the defensive line to kind of the defense as a unit, Matt just kind of looked at me on the sideline today somewhere towards the end of practice when we were going through 11-on-11, and he goes, "Is this defense like good?" And I was like, "It could be." Like, what's your answer to that question?
I think they are going to be much better this year. They were finished around the top 60, I think, in total defense last year. I think they can crack into that top 30, top 25. If we're seeing this translate over to real games, I was listening to your first segment there about Bernard Gooden, and the dude's been all over the place. I mean, you said 8 tackles for loss. I would probably guess it's more than that over the first 5 or 6 days of camp. He's been really, really good and really consistent for LSU, whether he's lined up next to McKinley or Bro, it doesn't really matter. He's been in there creating havoc, and that's honestly what this defense is predicated on. Like that's the whole point of bringing Blake Baker in 2024 was to get this defense in a place where they're making plays at all 3 levels of the defense. And we haven't talked about the secondary yet, but I think those guys they've been able to keep up with the wide receivers. We've talked so much about this wide receiver depth so far in the offseason, but I think guys like PJ Woodland have taken really nice steps. I think Monsieur Delane is a really consistent coverage cornerback for them. I think AJ Halsey can come up and make some big time physical tackles and is a big time talker on that defense they really need at the safety spot. So there's definitely a lot of good vibes going on right now with the defense, I think at all levels, and I'll just be curious to see how that carries over to game time.
You mentioned Halsey. Do you have 2 safeties that you like above the rest? They are cycling those guys in out snap to snap in the 11-on-11s and 7-on-7s.
Yeah.
I think we're losing Glenn as far as the signal goes. Back, we can probably call him. We'll go ahead and call him there because we're on FaceTime there for the video feed. A little bit of, but that's I want to get Glenn's answer to this because it's interesting. Before he answers, and I ask him the question again, like AJ Halsey, and is usually out there, and Tamarcus Cooley, but also Jordan Gilbert and Deshaun Spears are playing as well, and there's all 4 of them, and they rotate very freely. In fact, to the point where you couldn't even identify one as the starting duo at this point. I've made the point over the last week that I like Halsey. I like his statistics on paper. I like his measurables on the field when I look at him. Like I like him more than the others, but there is no, to me, surefire starter at this point. So, Glenn, I think we got you back now via the phone. Like, do you feel, are there 2 safeties you like over the other 2?
Yeah, like I said, I think Halsey and Cooley are probably the 2 that have shown me the most so far. But like you said, they're rotating guys in and out. I mean, Deshaun Spears, is with the second team one rep, and then he's with the first team the next rep. The same deal with Jordan Gilbert. I think Gilbert, honestly, has been getting kind of the most first-team reps of anybody so far. And we'll see how long that lasts. I think he's somebody that at full health, LSU has trust in just because of how veteran of a player he is and how much experience he has. So I could see situations where it's Halsey and Gilbert or Halsey and Cooley and Gilbert. Like there's no shortage of combinations that LSU's trying right now. But if you had to pick two that I think LSU would love to kind of get right and maybe kind of solidify those two spots, I would say Cooley and Halsey would be the two big playmakers of this group.
Wouldn't mind that at all from my point of view. Kyle Parker is making a lot of catches. Where do you think he fits in here?
Yeah, he's been getting first-team reps. And he was getting first-team reps today, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought, Barry and Brown had maybe locked down that other spot next to Chris Hilton, Davion Thomas. And look, I think when you're talking about spots and first-team and second-team reps with wide receiver, it's very much like the safety position right now. There's just so much working in and out of the lineup. And I think Kyle Parker is a sure-handed player. He's somebody that Brian Kelly, I think, has a lot of trust and faith in. Brian Kelly talked about him, pointed him out by name, I believe, last week in one of his press conferences as somebody that they have a lot of belief and trust in. He just was hurt a lot of last year with that wrist injury. And I'll be very curious to see what his role looks like. I think he's mostly been in the slot. I think he's got some versatility there, though. He's a great route runner. And he's somebody that Nussmeier is looking for in this offense. So I think that, look, they have a top six for sure. Like they have a nice rotation of six players right there at the top that they're rotating in and out. It's just going to be about what situations those players are best fit for.
You have a thought on the backup quarterbacks?
I think for me right now, that's still very much up in the air. Van Buren has had a couple of good moments. I honestly, the way the ball comes off of Colin Hurley's hand, I really, really like his throwing ability. He's just got a natural touch and a great mechanics that are already there working with him. So I don't have a good feel one way or the other. If you had to, ask me who I think the backup right now would be, it would probably be Van Buren. But I'm not counting Colin Hurley out of this race at all. I think he's got some real talent as a thrower, and that's something we're going to see over the next couple of weeks, I think, translate more and more.
Matt and I were talking about this, and I wrote it in my practice report. I felt like Harlan Berry got significant amount of reps with the ones right behind Caden Durham, and Caleb Jackson seemed to be working with the twos. What have you made of Harlan Berry's first week in fall camp?
Good. I think for me, the biggest thing that I've seen with Harlan is that they've added a lot of upper body weight. I was around him and kind of the team some this summer when they were having those camps for high school players, and the freshmen and sophomore guys were out there coaching and helping out with Frank Wilson and stuff. And Harlan just looks so much bigger in the chest. I mean, he's put on a good 10 pounds, I think, since he's gotten to LSU. I think they have him listed at 195. So I think, BK was asked about him in particular today, and he said it's still something where he's learning the system and learning how to be a good college running back in terms of running through tackles and breaking tackles and things of that nature. But he's no doubt one of the more explosive pieces in this offense if they're able to get him up to speed with the college game. And I have no doubt he'll be able to do that at some point. It's just, does it happen early in the season, or is it something that takes a little bit more time to materialize?
He's Glenn West, senior writer over at Go 24/7. Tell him what y'all have got up on the site as fall camp continues.
Yeah, practice reports, daily practice reports are up. We've got a big week of recruiting here coming up for LSU. 4-star wide receiver Jace Matthews commits at the end of the week, and LSU's in the mix there. So we'll see what happens, but we'll have all the practice coverage, all the interviews, everything that y'all need over there at Go 24/7. So thanks for having me on, Hunt.
Absolutely. We'll see you later this week.
All right. Sounds good.
He's Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. There's a lot to chew on out there. We were given more access than we ever have with any other coach. When Ed Ogeron took over as an interim, he really opened things up for the media at that point. I think that was in good faith and just trying to create a little bit more relaxed vibe around a program that was dealing with a lot of tension with the firing of a coach. As Ed Ogeron's tenure went on, that access shriveled down. We're able to watch a lot. We're able to report on a lot, and I think that it's it certainly makes the month of August more interesting for us as opposed to just, I mean, look, when I was first covering the team with Les Miles as the head coach, we would go out for the first 15 to 20 minutes. We would watch them do the big cat drill. They would do that for 8 minutes, and then we watch them separate into position groups. They'd run through cones and hit bags. Then we watch the quarterbacks throw it around to the receivers uncovered. And like that was practice, go home. And you'd have to write a practice report on that. Well, now we're getting 11 on 11. We're watching rotations. We're watching starters go against starters. We're watching, real live action reps that are tackling to the ground, which is stuff we hadn't seen a ton of. So I feel like there's a lot to chew on. We're learning a lot. I still think it's early to make definitive claims or make massive sweeping judgments, but a lot of people that are watching are agreeing on things, which suggests that our eyes aren't lying to you. You're not looking for confirmation bias. Like everybody's kind of looking at the same thing and coming up with the same type of assertion. So it's an interesting time, and we'll continue to break things down. We're going to do some more at the top of the second hour. I'm going to go through the guys that are with the first team every time, every play, and then we'll go into something where the rotations are, and we'll talk a little bit about the depth chart at the top of hour number 2. But when we come back, we'll meet the freshmen to close out hour number 1.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Trusty Properties. Daryl May with Trusty Properties. If you're a hunter and you don't have property to hunt on, but you want to make that your reality, well, Daryl May is here for you. Whether that's in the Felicianas, east or west, Point Capee, even up to Woodville, Mississippi, up to Natchez, anywhere in Louisiana or Mississippi, Daryl May at Trusty Properties can help you with that land purchase. Maybe it's not a hunting property. Maybe it's where you want to build your forever home. Maybe it's where you want to do some agriculture. If you'd like to invest in some land, Daryl May can help you out. I'm going to give you a cell phone number. It's 225-268-6915. You can also call Trusty Properties directly at 225-766-6162. And tell them Hunt Palmer sent you. Said, hey, Daryl, I'd like to look at some land listings. He's happy to help you with that. Daryl May is a St. Francisville resident, went to Catholic High here in Baton Rouge. This is his part of the world. If you're looking for a little piece of it for yourself, Daryl is happy to help you with that. All right, let's meet the freshmen to finish the hour.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
Two more today from this class of 2025. Aiden Anding is where we will start. 4-star recruit from On3, from 24/7, and from Rivals, top 10 player in the state of Louisiana from Ruston at Ruston High. He was nationally, in terms of the On3 composite, 171st in the country, 26th at his position. 5'11", 160 pounds, just on the smaller side, but a great athlete. Was a great high school basketball player at Ruston, and obviously a fantastic football player as well. He's going to be the less heralded cornerback in this class. DJ Pickett is the more heralded guy. But we've seen a lot of 4-star corners from the state of Louisiana come in and really be able to play, especially under the tutelage of Corey Raymond. So Aiden Anding, for me, like as I look at this team out on the practice field, he's not in the mix with the ones or twos. They've got a lot of veteran, older players at cornerback, so he'll have a chance to wait in the wings, put some weight on that frame, and continue to work on his technique, because he did a lot of things at Ruston on both sides of the ball. But he's a corner at LSU, guy that Corey Raymond identified early and wanted to bring in, and a guy that the recruiting services really liked a lot. So Aiden Anding, not quick to the field, I wouldn't imagine, like DJ Pickett is. We'll talk about DJ Pickett in the second hour, because they're putting him against Chris Hilton on every rep, and that is very telling to me. But Aiden Anding is the first of our Meet the Freshman today, 4-star corner from Ruston. Second is Jacob Bradford. Jacob Bradford comes from Catholic High, 4-star recruit from the folks over at 247, 4-star by ESPN, 4-star by Rivals. On3 had him as a 3-star recruit, but you're looking at a guy that 24/7 said was number 6 player in the state of Louisiana last year. Is a top 175 player in the country. He's a safety, 5'11", a little bit more put together at 195, and you can see that when you go out there and look at him. He's in a position group that has Deshaun Spears in it, that has, Tamarcus Cooley and AJ Halsey, some older players that are more physically imposing, but he does not just obviously stand out as a freshman body at this point. Bradford had a great career at Catholic High. Guy that was a number 5 overall player by 24/7 Sports in the state of Louisiana. Was first-team All-State as a junior in 2023, and helped Catholic win in a ton of games over there with Hudson Fuller and the Bears. He also played basketball, ran track, really good athlete. Obviously, you're aware of his younger brother, Blaine. And Jacob is behind a big group at LSU at safety, but he was actually today working with the Stars, meaning the Harold Perkins' group that plays the star position. That group was Harold Perkins, Charles Ross, CJ Jim Coyley, and Jacob Bradford. So Perkins and some young pups that are really, really athletic and can really run and are very versatile. The guys that play that star position are very versatile by nature. Perkins is a great example of that. Ross is a linebacker who can run like a deer. And then you've got Jim Coyley, who's 6'3", 225, 230 pounds. He is freakishly big for his class. I looked at this up today. Eric Reed was smaller his final year at LSU than CJ Jim Coyley is right now. And then Jacob Bradford in that group is guys who are are big enough but can also run a lot at that star position. So Bradford, not a huge factor at this point. Neither is Anding. These are two guys that are going to have to wait their turn, but certainly some very, very talented players from the state of Louisiana. It's always good to keep those guys in purple and gold because more often than not, eventually in their time, they show up and really help at one point or another. So that's another edition of Meet the Freshmen. We're 3 into that. Means we've talked about 6 of the LSU freshmen. Got to go through the end of next week to finish up that entire process, but we'll knock out 2 every day moving forward here until we have hit them all. That's it for hour number 1 here. Fast moving hour number 1, as you might expect. This time of year is just so much football to dive into. I open giving my practice report from today. If you missed it, 1, you can find it on LouisianaSports.net for free. 2, you can find it on demand wherever you find your sound. It'll be up at Hunt on LSU. Cat Terrell talking Saints with us. Glenn West talking Tigers. So that thing moved pretty quickly for hour number 1. We'll pause for Sports Center and national headlines. I'll get you my thoughts on a depth chart at the top of the hour. Freaks from Bruce Feldman and Sharief Aishack at the bottom of hour 2.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As he has done throughout training camp, Cowboys star pass rusher Micah Parsons in attendance in today's joint practice with the Rams, but not participating. His contract standoff with the team does continue. Parsons just the latest Cowboys star over the last couple of years to be in a protracted contract situation, and it could have a negative impact on Dallas's locker room, says ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
To me, the intangible detriment that's going on here for these young players, now they're looking at a guy like Micah Parsons, and I know it's part of the negotiations, but he's saying publicly, I don't want to be a Dallas Cowboy. Did we ever think in our lifetime that would be a place people didn't want to go to?
Rams running back Kyren Williams signing a 3-year, $33 million extension, $23 million guaranteed. Quarterback Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Buccaneers. He'll compete to back up starter Baker Mayfield. Browns signed quarterback Tyler Huntley as Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shador Sanders, all nurse injuries. Two-time AL MVP Aaron Judge set to rejoin the Yankees tonight for the game against the Rangers. He hasn't played since June 25th because of a flexor strain in his right elbow.
Hey, it's Michelle Smellman, and coming up Wednesday, could this be the final season for Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco? And if so, where would he end up next? We'll talk about it on Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Sharief, Aishack coming up in 30 minutes. Got to get to the freaks list for Bruce Feldman, which includes a couple LSU Tigers. We'll talk about that, and it's got a Clemson Tiger on it as well in the top 5. We'll talk about that in the next segment. This just kind of came to me. I have been to practice now on last Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. So 4 LSU practices. It was closed on Friday, and then I did not. I didn't go on Friday, and it was closed on Thursday. So there have been 2 extras. There have been 6 practices. So here's an exercise that I'm going to do here that I just kind of thought of. I'm going to give you the guys that I think are surefire 100% starters if they are healthy. I can't be penalized for an injury 3 weeks from now that I don't see. But if they are healthy, and here is the way that I'm going to present this so you can know like how sure I have to be to name them here. The way we'll play this game is if one of these guys that I name as a surefire starter does not start the game against Clemson in a traditional formation, then I can't watch the rest of the season. And it's my job to watch the team. So, like, I cannot get any of these wrong, okay? So I'm going to tell you how many guys on offense and how few guys on defense I think are locked into a starting position. And defense rotates more than offense. Offense doesn't rotate a quarterback. Offense doesn't rotate offensive linemen. Defense rotates everybody on the field just about. You got some guys that are never going to come out, but for the most part, outside of your top 2 corners and your best linebacker, maybe your best 1 safety, everybody's rotating a decent amount. But first snap against Clemson, on the offense, Garrett Nussmeier locked in. He is absolutely going to start. Caden Durham locked in. He is absolutely going to start. And I would go as far as to say that Tyree Adams, DJ Chester, and Braylon Moore will make up left tackle, left guard, center. And I think that Weston Davis is for sure the right tackle. I'm not going to go as far with Josh Thompson at right guard. I think he's very much the leader, but would it stun me completely if Cohen Eccles was in there. Not right now. So I think right now I'm going to go with 4 of the offensive linemen, Nussmeier and Durham. I also am 100% confident in saying Chris Hilton's going to start.
Are you writing this down?
I got it all written down.
Okay. Because I was gonna put it in the document.
We can put it in the doc.
So we can archive it.
I'm 100% sure Chris Hilton, and I'm 100% sure Aaron Anderson. I don't know the third wide receiver, and I'm not going to give you a tight end. Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green are the only 2 that matter, and they may both be out there on the first snap for all I know. But I can't get. They're it. They're the tight end, but I don't know which one it is. So basically, I'm giving you 8 of the 11. I'm not.
Who are the linemen again?
Adams, Chester, Braylon Moore, and Weston Davis will start. I'm the 5th one. I'm not going to go as far as say Josh Thompson, but I think he's certainly the leader, but he can't be on this list right now. So I'm giving you 8 of 11. I'm not giving you the right guard. I'm not giving you the third wide receiver, and I'm not technically giving you the tight end because I don't know which one of them will go out there. And even the one that starts against Clemson, I wouldn't even do it again for the Louisiana Tech game the next week because it just depends on what they want to do on that play. Because those are the 2 tight ends, and they may both be out there. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But Anderson and Hilton, I think I would go as far as to say. So those guys, I'm going to go with 8 of 11 there. And you'll get the point of this exercise now. That's 8 of 11 spots, and really 9 if you give me tight end. On defense, I would give you Whit Weeks. He'll be out there. I will give you Ashton Stamps. He will be out there. I will give you Harold Perkins. He will be out there. And I'll right now give you Mansour Delane. That's 4, and that's as far as I'll go on defense. They are rotating so many guys on the defensive side of the ball that I can't give you a definitive. I think Jack Pyburn's going to start. He started at end and at tackle, depending on the drill that they're running. But I can't tell you for sure because I don't know if Gabe Relaford is going to be the guy right out of the chute or Jamari Butler is going to be the guy. Right now, Patrick Payton is making plays. I wouldn't pick him to start. West Weeks is running next to Whit Weeks, and I would feel good about telling you he's going to start, but I wouldn't stake my season on it. Because it wouldn't surprise me if Devon Keys played or if they knew they were going to be in some sort of nickel or dime look that didn't include West Weeks. Like, Whit will be out there. West, I can't go as far as to say.
No Jacoby and Guillory?
No, definitely not. Right now, I mean, you're looking – when you go out there and you look at the first-team tackles, sometimes you see Jack Pyburn and Ahmad Bro. Sometimes you see McKinley and Bro. Sometimes you see Gooden and McKinley. Sometimes you see Gooden and Pyburn. If it's a pass rush type deal, like defensive tackle – I can't tell you. And then safety is an absolute crapshoot. Like, it is different every day. It is different every rep. We make a point, especially early in camp, those first, 2 practices, when they go out there and do the 11 on 11, you're not even writing names. You're taking the formation on your notepad and you're writing the numbers down. You'll check the roster after because it moves really quick. And you do that, and you take the name and you put the numbers all down, and then you look up 3 snaps later, and they've rotated 2 safeties in. They do not have a set rotation at safety. I asked Glenn that in the first hour, who do you think the safeties are going to be? And Glenn said he thinks Halsey and Cooley are the 2 guys. But Gilbert gets a ton of reps, and Spears gets a lot of reps. So, and that's not to mention Toviano, who gets a lot of reps as well. They got 5 guys at safety who can play. Now, if you asked me, hey, you got to go beat Clemson tomorrow, you get to pick the 2 safeties that are going to play 90% of the snaps. I'm picking A.J. Halsey, and I'm picking DeMarcus Cooley, and they're going to go play. That's based on their production at their previous spot and their frame when I go look at them. I want badly for Deshaun Spears to be a dude. Right now, he runs second and third team mostly with a few first-team reps. We saw Jordan Gilbert a lot last year. He plays a lot on the first team. Am I 100% certain he's going to be out there? No. So, one, as I said, there's more rotating on defense than offense. But the point is the offense is pretty well set. Now, at receiver, they're going to funnel guys in and out. No, Kyle Parker's not going to be in the starting lineup, in my opinion. He's going to play. Right now, Nick Anderson doesn't run with the ones. He's going to play. How much do we see Xavion Thomas? He plays a lot in practice. Does he have a big role, or do some guys usurp that role? But I think Hilton and Anderson are clearly the top 2 guys at that spot. Aaron's got to come back and be healthy, and he hadn't been. So a lot of different guys are getting a lot of reps. But you're looking at an offense that kind of knows who it is, not necessarily what it's going to be, but who it is. and a defense that is really shuffling some guys in and out. And that's a good thing, to build depth, to be able to withstand the bumps and bruises of a season. Some guys are going to get hurt and miss the rest of the season. That happens on offense and defense. You saw early Guillory and Perkins go down last year. You saw Jordan Gilbert separate his shoulder and have to play through that. Like, injuries happen time and time again. Of course, West Weeks missed most of the year, and then Witt got hurt. But if you've got enough depth, which we're seeing, and I can't identify for sure starters at this point, that I'm going out there and watching all these 11 on 11 reps in practice, that's a good thing to have, especially considering the level of play that they're giving you. But I think I got 8 of 11 on offense that I can give you that I'm confident in, and I can only give you 4 on defense. Witt Weeks, Ashton Stamps, Mansour Delane, and then Harold Perkins. After that, it could be any group of guys. I didn't give you a single defensive lineman on that list. Not one. I can't give you one defensive lineman I know is going to be out there. I can tell you the guys that I've seen flash the most. That's Pyburn and Gooden. But they're going to play Gabe Relaford. Patrick Payton's going to be out there on third downs. Jacoby and Guillory is a load. He's going to play in short yardage situations. The first 2 defensive tackles we saw out there the first day of practice when they were going through 11 on 11 was Ahmad Bro and Dominic McKinley. Those guys are going to play, and they do. So I can't give you a definitive on that one. But if I have a severe punishment for getting a single one wrong here, and I can lay back as conservatively as I want, on offense I can still be pretty aggressive. The defense is going to take some time, and they're going to have a lot of depth that they can cycle through out there, which is a very, very good thing. Let me do one more thing here before we go to break, because I don't know if this is a 12-minute segment, but it's a conversation that I want to have for 4 minutes here. I entered camp this year, full disclosure, my personal opinion was that Ashton Stamps has started for 2 years on LSU's roster, and for 2 years has been on bad pass defenses and hasn't made an interception and hasn't made a ton of plays on the ball by my eye. That's what I came into this camp thinking about Ashton Stamps. Good athlete, not the biggest guy on the team, thrust into action too early as a freshman, played a ton of football, hasn't made a lot of plays. That's Hunt Palmer's assessment of what he's seen from Ashton Stamps in 2 years. So to me, as I go into this camp and I see them bring in Mansour Delane, and I see 5-star DJ Pickett come in the signing class, and I look at 4-star high school prospect who started at Florida last year in Jakeem Jackson, and I see Tamarcus Cooley, who's played some nickel and corner in his day, I see a lot of talent being brought in. And I go, I'm not ready to cede a starting spot to a guy who's been on the field for 2 really bad pass defenses, and to my eye hadn't made a ton of plays. Like, I'm not telling you Ashton Stamps is a worthless asset on the football team. I'm telling you, I just hadn't seen a lot. He better go win a spot. It's a weekend, and I will change that tune. He is clearly LSU's best cover guy through a week. That's 7-on-7. That's 1-on-1. That's 11-on-11. He has been very, very, very good.
Maybe NCAA football 26 knew something we didn't, Hunt. They had him rated very highly.
Maybe they did. I'm not here to tell you he's going to win the Thorpe. I'm not here to tell you he's going to have 4 interceptions this year after his none the last couple of years. But I'm telling you that I am watching 1-on-1s and I am watching 7-on-7, and Ashton Stamps is covering guys and making plays. And I'll tell you this. Athleticism has never been a problem for Ashton Stamps. He is a great athlete. And he's got a coach in Corey Raymond that knows how to do this. He has molded really good athletes into elite college defensive backs, into pro draft picks for better than a decade. He knows how to do this. And he did not forget the last 2 years at LSU or when he went to Florida. He didn't forget. He is a great defensive backs coach. And my assertion here is that Ashton Stamps is taking strides and making a jump. How big that jump is? What does it look like against Clemson with 3 stud wide receivers on the field? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, for sure, after going to practice for a week, I feel significantly better about Ashton Stamps' role on this team today than I did last Tuesday before we went into the Ponderosa. And I want to give a hat tip to him for continuing to work, continuing to fight, continuing to learn, and for performing early on in fall camp. Y'all know what we've talked about with these 1-on-1s and 7-on-7s the last 2 years. It's been pitch and catch for the offense. And the offense has done a lot of work. in those drills. They've picked up a lot of receptions in the 1-on-1 and 7-on-7 and drills that are slanted toward the offense. However, Stamps has shown up every day. Not just like, oh, today made 2 plays on the ball. Every day, Stamps covers. He does a great job. And that's an encouraging thing for me to watch as a guy that I wasn't overly high on entering camp. Not to say overly down, just wasn't overly high on. I feel a lot better about him now as I've watched him in his junior year now for a week in camp. So just wanted to do that. Wanted to give a hat tip there to Ashton Stamps, who I think has done really, really nice job. We'll come back and talk about Freaks on Brooke Feldman's Freaks list. It's an annual deal. 2 LSU Tigers are on it. You can take the break to guess the 2 Tigers that are on it. And there's a Clemson Tiger on it as well. We'll talk about that, and we'll get to Sharief Aishack at the bottom of the hour on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
different benchmarks in the month of August. You get reporting the camp, which happened in July this year, but usually it's August 1st. And then, Hard Knocks may roll around, tuning on that on Tuesdays. And Bruce Feldman's Freaks List is always one of those things that shows up in the month of August. 101 deep this year on the Freaks of college football. And LSU is represented by 2 players on the Freaks List. You've got, at number 6, Dominic McKinley. And Feldman actually talks about some other guys that have some freakish tendencies, and Harold Perkins, who runs 22 miles per hour at 225 pounds. Jack Pyburn, who bench pressed 425 pounds and set an LSU record, which I don't even know what this means, a bench peak power output of 2,200 plus watts. Those deserve some freak love, but McKinley has these unbelievable numbers. He's 6'6", 308. His vertical is 35 inches, which is remarkable. That's going to be way higher than Kayshon Boudy's was at Pro Day. He broad jumped 10 feet and power cleaned 418 pounds. Y'all remember the Brian Kelly quote said we ran out of weights for him to max squat. It's 650-pound max squat. I throw that out to show you how powerful he is. He's such a great kid, grounded every single day, and his elite strength is going to play a major role in what we do. Yeah, McKinley's got every measurable you could want. Sometimes it's a disadvantage to play defensive tackle at 6'6", which is what he is doing. You've got 6'2", 6'3" centers that can get up under your pad level and make things tough on you. Guards generally a little bit smaller as well, and they're going to outweigh you by 20, 30 pounds. So that can be tough. But McKinley's working on playing at a lower pad level, working on using the power that he has, the strength that he has to control the line of scrimmage. And we've seen him a lot with the first-team defense, across from Ahmad Bro, across from Jack Pyburn, across from Bernard Gooden, Jacobian Guillory. He's played a lot. And I would anticipate to see him a lot in the game against Clemson. If he can, I talked about this last week, if he can grow into his potential, he's a difference maker for LSU at the defensive tackle spot. They don't have anybody on the roster with his measurables and freakish ability. So it's a big, big season for Dom McKinley to take that next step and become not just a precocious freshman talent, not just a 5-star top player in the state, to become a great college player that needs to start this year. The other freak is number 32, and it's not a name that I probably would have gone to on this list, but it does make a lot of sense. It's Chris Hilton. Feldman writes, 5 years ago, Hilton was the highest ranked of the Tigers' ridiculously talented wide receiver class that included NFL first-rounders Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, also second-rounder Jack Beck. Clearly Jack Beck.
No, I don't think so.
Incorrect to say Beck. Jack Besh. He's an elite track athlete, but injuries have bottled him up. When you go to the freaks situation, you're talking about Hilton at 6 feet, 190 pounds, 3-time Louisiana State high jump champion. He hit 23.7 miles per hour on the GPS. That's an all-time LSU record. Obviously, the GPS hasn't been around for the entirety of LSU football. You'd like to see some of the guys from the past, your Trenton Hollidays, Benny Brazels, even Eddie Kennison on that. But 23.7 miles per hour, pretty dadgum good. Also clocked a 1.37 10-yard split of a 1-yard lead in, another program record. Timed in the high 4.2s and the 40s. And as Feldman writes, on a team with plenty of freaky receivers, including track star Jelani Watkins and Berrien Brown, coaches say the program's biggest freak is Chris Hilton. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Chris Hilton either later in the week or next week. He is once again having a monster camp. A monster camp. He and Garrett Nussmeier are clearly the most chemistry bonded wide receiver to quarterback duo out there. The ball never hits the ground when those two are involved. Touch throws, over the middle, deep balls, out routes, stops, over routes, hitches, everything you can imagine, they're hitting. And Hilton has had the reputation of a burner his entire time here, and for good reason. He's running by dudes the whole Baylor game, whole Oklahoma game. Like, that's his most freakish tendency. But he's also making catches running the entire route tree. And the speed is so evident when he runs by people on go routes, on 9 routes, but also when he catches a screen pass and hits the seam. Also, when you look at the respect that DBs give him so he can break off routes and catch balls coming back to the quarterback, he is the total package at wide receiver. And I think he is due for a monster year. The key for him is harnessing that speed to create separation and then make catches. He's making catches daily, doing a great job using his hands and running the whole route tree, as I said. But it's not just speed with Hilton. That puts him on this list, but it's not just speed. He is significantly more than that. He's having an awesome start to his camp. And the third guy on this list I want to talk about is actually number 5 on the list. Peter Woods, Clemson defensive tackle. He was a freshman All-American in 2023. Last year, he had 32 tackles, including 8.5 TFLs. He had 3 sacks. He split time between defensive end and defensive tackle. If you heard our Clemson guest yesterday, he mentioned how Woods is a tackle by trade, but he had to go play edge last year because they ran out of edges. But you look at his body composition, as Feldman writes, and you're talking about a guy who is 310 pounds, and 240 of that is lean muscle mass. He's fast. He's incredibly strong. He bench pressed 490 pounds this offseason and did 34 reps of 225. A lot of y'all work out a lot. Consider that many reps. 34 reps of 225 pounds. He squatted over 700 pounds and power cleaned 385 while at 310 pounds running a 4.86 40-yard dash and a vertical of 33 inches. Feldman writes like he's probably a top 5 pick when he leaves Clemson after this year. And that's a guy the interior offensive line that's having trouble through camp is going to have to deal with.
Yeah, that's not a very encouraging thing for LSU.
Last year, I feel like we talked about Miller Moss a ton. He was the quarterback. We talked about Zachariah Branch a ton. And honestly, we probably talked about Bear Alexander way too much, who didn't really play in the game. But as we get closer and closer to the Clemson game, you're going to hear the name Peter Woods a lot. He's the best player they've got on defense. He is a load at the line of scrimmage, and LSU's offensive line is going to have to be ready to deal with him, and he's not going to take it easy on him.
We heard Jared Verse's name a good bit going into 2023.
Yeah.
He was a problem.
Yeah, he was a bit of a problem. So really, if you go back over the last 5 years, you don't have to look very hard. You can go to Charbonnet at UCLA. What was the tight end's name with a D?
Oh, well, wasn't the quarterback Dorian Thompson Robinson?
DTR.
Yeah, DTR. Yeah,
Sissy blue shirt.
He had a fun game.
He did. You're going to have to deal with him. LSU's not done that at all over the course of the last 2 seasons with their openers. All right, we're chugging along here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Always love to remind you about my friend Terrell May at Trusty Realty. If you are looking to get into the property of your dreams, whether that's a hunting lease, hunting land that you buy, whether that is agriculture land, whether you're building a second home or a primary home outside the city, if you're looking in the Felicianas, you're looking in Point Capee, you're looking up in Mississippi, Woodville, Natchitoches, wherever the case may be, if you're looking for land, contact Darryl May. You may think, oh, I can find it all online. Darryl's got access to the premium listings throughout the states of Louisiana and Mississippi. He will have options for you if you sit down with him, go over your idea for the land, your price range. He'll determine what the spot is for you. So if you don't know where to start, but you know that you want property outside the city for whatever reason that is, contact Darryl May of Trusty Properties, the name you can trust. I always give you Darryl's phone number every single week on the show. Just give him a call. Just say, hey, I know this is your cell phone number. Appreciate you picking up. Hunt told me that you can help me out getting into some property. And Darryl will be like, yeah, let's get it done. Sit down with him, and you will be thrilled with his ability to know the marketplace and also to know exactly what it is you're looking for. It's Darryl May at Trusty Properties, 225-268-6915. All right, take a time out. Sharief Aishack next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You know this story by now. I had a house, loved the house. My wife, girlfriend at the time, moved in. Where are the closets? Here they are. Well, these are pathetic. Well, that's what we got. So in our case, we're putting coats in the closet. We're throwing winter clothes up in the attic. We're putting some of her stuff in the guest room, baby's room. It was a disaster. We didn't call David Duvall because we were going to move. Didn't feel like we were going to put in custom closets in a house we weren't long for. But if you don't want to move and you want to enhance your closet space, you want to use your space better, you want to put in a brand new closet, you want to customize it to your exact specifications, go to onebathandclosets.com. Look at the pictures. They're fantastic work. You'll see the great closets there. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go to onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation. Onebathandclosets.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Transition on back to the New Orleans Saints. They're getting ready to take tomorrow off, then leave on a jet plane to Southern California. Get a couple workouts in. They will play the Chargers this weekend in their first of 3 preseason contests. Interesting, we don't know how Kellen Moore is going to handle preseason. He's never done it before, and we'll get our first look at the black and gold against an opponent coming up this weekend. But chat with Sharief Aishack, WDSU, down in New Orleans about some other things as we dive into the black and gold. Sharief, how are you?
I would say after today, I'm doing great.
I love to hear that. That really brightens my day. Let's talk offensive line, because last year at this time, offensive line was like the massive concern. And I feel like now it's kind of like hopefully the strength of the team. What have you seen from the Saints offensive line through camp?
Well, you hope they're going to be the strength of this team. I mean, the defensive line has been eating up the offense most of the camp, and most of that offensive line has had a hard time. And that's okay. And it's okay. Fuaga and Banks are, still learning. And even I'm just going to say the whole offensive line is still learning, because you got to remember, you got 3 different people playing at 3 different spots now. So I am okay with it, though. I think it's fine. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, maybe the defensive line has improved, and maybe that's why it looks good, and that's why they're struggling. But I think they're going to be okay. It's just going to take a little bit of time. You got to understand the signal caller back there they're playing with is, whoever's going to be, someone who doesn't really have much starting experience. So I think they're still getting used to the quarterback, and they're still getting used to the shifting around that offensive line. But the strength and the positivity is still there down the line, though, Hunt.
I realized, because I'm asking this question and I do it daily at LSU, when you get down to field level and they do 11 on 11 and you're looking at it, like, it's very difficult to tell what offensive linemen are doing what, because it happens so fast and there's 10 guys just going, bodies flying everywhere. But what's your sense of how Trevor Penning has adapted to the guard spot?
Look, I think he's doing well. It's good to watch him in the one-on-ones. That was that's really been a fun one to watch with Trevor Penning. It's watching him go against anyone, Brian Brzee going against Carl Granderson, anybody just in the one-on-ones, and he's held his own. Look, once again, it's for him. It's a learning curve, but at least it's a position where he has a chance to be a little nasty. It's what his his personality is. Get stand in the dirt, get up quick, push guys down the field, be a little tough, be like Trevor Penning, the guy who was getting in fights his rookie year in training camp. I think that, he's channeling that energy without getting, himself into a lot of that trouble with the fights. So it's going to be a learning curve. But I think whenever he gets, into the season, it's going to get better. He's had his struggles, but I think for the most part, he's done okay. He's done okay with the move to left guard. I think it's going to pay off for him at the end of the season. If everyone can stay healthy on that offensive line, you get everyone stay pretty much healthy, I think his position looks really good.
Have there been significant bumps in the road for Kelvin Banks at left tackle, or is he holding his own?
I think he's held his own. He's held his own. I mean, the battles, once again, the one-on-one battles are the fun ones to watch whenever he lines up with Carl or Chase, just to see him go against, some of the best edge rushers in the NFL. I mean, to face guys like that as a rookie, it's crazy. It's good for you. I mean, iron sharpens iron. The only way you're going to get better is going against the best on that defensive line. And for the most part, he's held up his own. But there are some times when we get into 11-on-11 team drills is when you can see some of the struggles. You see some of the footwork. You can see him getting beat on the outside a bit. But at times, it's some of the quarterbacks just holding it a bit too long, and it gives the ability to pass rushers to get by him. But rookie, man, you expect the rookie, the rookie bumps in the road to happen in training camp. You want them to happen. You want the mistakes to happen now so he can learn from them.
So as we had this discussion, do you feel good about the Saints' defensive line?
It's a tricky question. It really is a tricky question because of like I said, the moving pieces. But part of me believes that the defensive line actually might be a little bit above average, and that's a good thing for me. I mean, I think what Brandon Staley brought in and the switch in that scheme, the 3-4 might help them a little bit more. I think it might rejuvenate some guys, keep them well rested, have them playing different positions. They're playing more of a modern defense that you need to play in today's NFL. But I think it's going to help them. And I think for the most part, I think they look average to above average to me from watching. If you ask me the MVP on that defense, it's you're going to automatically just go straight to Chase Young on that defensive line. Chase and Carl Granderson have been, getting after that offensive line. People might want to say, well, the offense is a mess because you don't have a real established quarterback. Yeah, that is the case. But man, you still have to remember that those two guys were getting a lot of pressures last year. So think about healthy Chase this year and Carl coming off of last year. That's a great combination. I still think Brian Brzee is making his way and has done a solid job. So yeah, I do like it. I do like what that defensive line has provided so far in the training camp.
This is a little bit of revisionist history, perhaps, but did Chase Young and Carl Granderson have better years than their statistics indicate last year?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at it, I think, if you go back and look at Chase's pressures, he had a lot of pressures, I mean, the sacks, and everyone looks at the sacks, right? On every level. You want to see how many sacks. The sacks numbers didn't show that. But if you look at the pressures and hit on quarterbacks, you look at it and think, okay, yeah, I mean, he did have a much better season. Sometimes he took on 2 defenders, like many good defensive linemen are going to take, and sometimes he beat them. He got the pressures in the backfield, just didn't get there quick enough. I think his numbers were a little bit better than you probably gave him credit for.
So, as I look at that, I mean, do you feel like that those guys have essentially phased Cam Jordan out? I mean, we saw kind of a resurgence late in last year, really after Dennis Allen was fired. But do you think that Cam Jordan is essentially just a 1-down, 2-down player now?
Yeah, I think we're seeing that part of his career, 15 years with the Saints in the NFL. Yeah, man, he's playing on the outside. Look, to watch Cam Jordan drop back in coverage is weird to me. It's different.
Yeah.
It's weird to see all 3 of those guys drop into coverage, but man, they actually look good doing it. There have been times I've seen Cam, Carl, and Chase drop back and have TVUs like within 10 yards of the line. I'm like, okay, all right, look, that's good. That's good to see. And you do want to see them get in there and get after the quarterback, try to tackle the running back in the backfield. But sometimes it's going to be called upon you to drop back in coverage in certain sets. And, that's what Cam is doing, some downs. And that's okay. That's okay in the twilight of his career. He's going to have to do that. He stays fresh. He doesn't play, the 50, 60 snaps. He might play 25, 30, and that's all right. And that's what they need him to do, and he's paid the good money to do it. And I think that works for him.
Speaking of good coverage, a lot of positive reports on Kool-Aid McKinstry. Can you echo those? What have you seen from him?
Absolutely, man. I think, like I told you, Chase Young is probably the best defender so far. I would say 1A, 1B. I mean, Kool-Aid has making some serious strides. Remember when they drafted him last year, he had foot surgery before the NFL draft, and he started quite a few games, on the outside. And I think now he's catching on. He's catching on in this scheme with Staley doing a good job with the secondary. Terry Joseph kind of getting through to the guys, and he's the guy that that's really picked up a lot on that defense. And I just think that I thought he might be. Some people would say he's 2 years away. I think he might be here now if this continues. I mean, he is like a ball hawk. He's lining up against the best receivers. He has made plays on all 3 of the top receivers, and you got to think how fast those guys are, and he's keeping up with them. So, man, in coverage, he's making tackles, and he's good in coverage, man. In one-on-one coverage, if he can do that against those speedy receivers in one-on-one coverage, that's awesome. That's awesome. He's doing it this year. Just imagine what he's doing in a year or two.
Got a thought on how they handle the quarterbacks coming up this weekend?
I think the Spencer Rattler is going to start.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he gets the first reps in the game, then Tyler, then Jake. I think, man, I want to see him play. I want to see Spencer play at least a quarter, then Tyler take at least a quarter and a half, and then Jake close it out. I mean, you've got to see what they got. I mean, but that's just my gut feeling, man. Kellen Moore today says he'll make the decision when they get to Irvine. And the last time we'll talk to them will be on Friday. So my guess is maybe he'll tell us on Friday. All the quarterbacks are going to talk to us on Friday when we're up there in Irvine. So my gut says Spencer, Tyler, then Jake, and then next week they flip it around and go Taylor, Spencer, and then Jake. And maybe Jake gets the second reps. But to me, it's those 2 guys going for the spot. But right now, if you ask me today who's the starter, it's Spencer.
So you don't feel like we'll know who the Week 1 starter is going to be after this preseason game?
Man, it's tough. I mean, I know that question has been peppered a lot, man. And it's been peppered a lot to him. He said he'd like to, at least think that he might have it, like, by the time you get, past this Chargers game. I think the way camp is going, I need to see more. I really need to see a little bit more. Give me, let me at least get through the second game is what Kellen Moore should probably do. Get through the second game, have those starters or those quarterbacks get through another week of camp and another preseason game. I think the second game is the most important game to me now. There's only 3. So I would think let's just go with the second preseason game, and I think that decision could be made after that. Although he can pull the trigger early, but it was me. I want to see one more week of training camp in that second preseason game.
You headed out to L.A.?
Yeah, leaving in the morning, man. I'll be back Monday afternoon.
Awesome. Travel safe, and we'll talk next week.
I'll be at the Red Sox-Padres game Saturday. Going to have some fun.
Very nice. Enjoy. That should be quite pleasant. We'll We'll be back here in hot Louisiana, but we'll be thinking about you.
All right. Enjoy that, hon.
Sharief, Aishack, WDSU down in New Orleans, headed out west for Saints and Chargers in the preseason opener. We'll come back and close things out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Luxury has a new address right there, airline at PQ. You're looking for a new vehicle and you're thinking, I've never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Change that. Just put them on your list. If you're looking for a new car in Baton Rouge, you're probably on Airline Highway. Just make one more stop at PQ. You're going to be so blown away by the facility, the ambiance, the staff, and then, of course, most importantly, the line of vehicles. And then once you make that purchase of that new Genesis, you're going to have so many perks at your disposal. You're going to have 3 years complimentary valet maintenance. You're going to have 5 years, 60,000 miles, bumper to bumper on your warranty. You're going to have a 100,000-mile, 10-year powertrain warranty. You're going to have the complimentary scheduled maintenance. You're going to have 24/7 roadside assistance. All these perks that just keep rolling in when you're a Genesis driver. Check out their vehicles online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. You can do the whole process there if you want. They'll come to you for the test drive, and if you like what you see, like what you drive, they'll hand you the keys. You can e-sign, deliver your vehicle to you, and you never have to set foot on the lot. I'd recommend you set foot on the lot. It's wonderful people, wonderful line of vehicles, and a phenomenal location. Check them out, Airline at PQ. We're online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust want to make things a little easier on your budget by making your groceries for an entire year. And even if you don't win the grand prize, we're awarding second chance prizes of $250 gift cards to High Neighbor Supermarkets. It's the free groceries for a year sweepstakes powered by Citizens Bank and Trust, High Neighbor, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Register now at 104.5ESPN.com. Also, tune in Friday night for the first of 3 shows previewing all 16 SEC football teams as they prepare for the 2025 season. It's the SEC Radio Network's Battle for Atlanta, Saturday at noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing things up here. Tuesday show is brought to you by Darrell May of Trusty Properties, a name you can trust. If you look at LouisianaSports.net right now, I know a lot of y'all are getting back into the rhythm of things with school about to crank up or having cranked up in some instances. Over at LouisianaSports.net right now, got Ross's story on Devin Neal missing multiple weeks with an injury, big injury in Saints camp. Got LSU women's basketball schedule release. We got LSU football's practice report. Got a Saints Day 11 report up from Ross Jackson as well. So lots going on there. And then we got a story up from Matt's show yesterday where representatives from Our Lady of the Lake spoke to him on the show about the new arena that is set to be potentially built on campus at LSU that could bear Our Lady of the Lake's name if that's approved by the Board of Supervisors. And they went into the entire plans onto what that is going to look like. It's not just an arena. It's an entertainment district, and there are plans to move things all the way down Nicholson Drive, all the way to downtown. So if you'd like to read some more about that with the quotes from the guys that were on Matt's show yesterday, you can do it all for free at LouisianaSports.net. We got Saints practice reports every day. We got LSU practice reports every day. We got columns. We've gotten breaking news, got things like that from Matt's show. The site has grown exponentially since we launched almost a year ago. We're so thankful to y'all for being receptive to that and to continuing to visit it and to making it part of your day. So if you haven't yet and want to go check out some of that because you care about Saints practice and LSU practice, it's all free there, LouisianaSports.net. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. If you're out on the water fishing, if you're on the grill cooking, if you're at the pool, at the lake, headed to the beach for the tail end of summer vacation, or you're just down here, it's hot, and you want something cold to drink, Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. All the taste that you're looking for in a cold beer, just 95 calories and 2.6 carbs. I got a 3-pack on set all the time. You can pick it up wherever you purchase your beers to bring home. It's Flight by Yingling.
All righty, first one here. The Cubs suck, Hunt. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
It's less about that, which they do. They're really infuriating. It's more about the fact that the Brewers are 19-4 in their last 23 games.
That's a very big problem.
That's impossible to do.
It is.
Especially when your team
isn't
sucks, good. Which I contend they suck.
They're not
even though
good.
They have the best record of the majors. They're the hottest team in the majors.
They're still not
and they're
good, though.
Leaving the Cubs in their absolute wake. I still think they suck.
They're not good. They really aren't. They get
1,000 hits every game. They set a hits record in the series against the Nationals.
It doesn't make any sense what's happening right now. It really doesn't. And the fact that the Cubs are going to have, I mean, look, we're obviously being facetious when we say they suck. They're still in the top 3.
They're the best team in the league.
Yes.
And they have no players that anyone's ever heard of in their prime.
No, yeah, but I'm talking about the Cubs. I was saying I'm being facetious when I say that they suck. They are very good. The Cubs are very good. They have one of the best teams in the majors. And the fact that they will potentially, most likely at this point, be playing a wild card game because
they
the
better
Brewers,
hope they're playing a wild card game.
Okay, come on, Hunt.
They're like 3 games up on the. It's August. It's early August.
Okay,
they could easily not make the playoffs if they hit like this. They will not make the playoffs.
That's true, but this is an outlier in terms of how the offense has played the whole season.
Wilson Alexander from The Advocate looked at me today and he said, it sounds like the Cubs aren't doing so well, and the only thing I know about the Cubs is whatever you tweet. I said, well, it's not going great.
No.
My kid probably thinks I'm a lunatic.
You are a little bit negative at times when it comes to that, so, you know.
It's not going well.
It's not. I agree. It isn't. All
For
right,
those that missed this yesterday, Dansby Swanson, who's been playing baseball for 30 years, just missed first base.
Yeah, he did.
Just missed it.
And there was a guy
tying
on third.
run came in to score to tie the game in the 8th inning, and Dansby just missed the base.
Yep, that happened.
Awesome. Really made my Monday night.
And then the pitcher that they just traded for got hurt and had to leave
in
the second inning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. Really enhanced my Monday night.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm not drinking beers.
Yeah, not fun.
It's a tough scene.
You picked a bad month to go dry.
The only month I can do. That it? One? The Cubs suck?
We have like no time left.
Awesome. That's great.
You kind of
went on the show.
Went on a bit of a tirade there.
Guess what? Matt's show will probably have a more uplifting opening message. So you should hang out for that instead of listening to me complain about the Cubs, which I will inevitably do 4 hours from now when they start their next game. I'm back tomorrow, maybe in a better mood if the Cubs win.
The Hunt Palmer Show.